Thank you for joining the DIMPRP Podcast, the podcast that brings together public relations professionals and influencers. I am your host, Vanessa Abron, and I'm glad you joined us today. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome our guest today, Pariss Garner. Using her terribly funny humor, Pariss Garner documents her creative life journey via her site, Notes from My Phone. There, she writes personal stories, how-to articles, and advice to show others that it's possible to do what you love and make an impact. She is also an editorial contributor for Boss Magazine, which is based out of New York. Pariss started Notes from My Phone to give herself an outlet to talk as much as she wanted without anyone giving her a blank stare or subtle cue to stop talking. In today's interview, we definitely did a lot of talking. Another reason was to spread optimism, motivate, and inspire others, and to help folks who are on their self-work journey. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Ms. Pariss Garner.
Thank you for joining me today, my fellow short person.
No problem. So tiny. So tiny.
How do you... I'm 5 feet tall. Well, my nephew, my oldest nephew is 26. He measured me last week. He said that I was 5'1". I was like, no, we're going to stick with 5 feet because I've been saying that for so long, and that's what the doctors say when I go to the doctor's office. So we just gonna, it's just like I just like to nice round 5 feet. Adding a one at this stage just seems like too much work. But how do you look? You literally do look tall in pictures. How do you?
I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot. People always say, I thought you were taller. I have long legs. I have very long legs and short body. So I guess my legs just come off as long. But I've heard that a lot, that people are like, oh, I thought you were taller. It's like, sorry to disappoint you.
That's probably what it is. I had a line sister. I pledged. And when I was online and they were like trying to find clothes for us to wear for something. Yeah. And one of my line sisters, like, she gave the inseam of her pants and they were like, what? And she was like, yeah, I have long legs. I just have a short torso. You know, because they couldn't believe that her legs were as long as she said it was.
Yeah. Long leg people are a special breed. Our pants fit weird.
So tell me, how did you get into content creating?
So in 2017, so I've always been really big on like social media. Like when MySpace was out, I was like, yeah, this is my thing. Let me post my new song all the time, change my layout all the time.
Wait, pause. You write songs too? We're going to come back to that.
Do you remember how on MySpace you could post like a song that you liked like to your page?
Yes. Oh my gosh, throwback.
Yep. I wrote up a bio yesterday and I remembered it, like, oh yeah, I used to love like, so anything social media related has always been like a thing for me. So instant messaging and Facebook, all of that. And I was writing like these long statuses on Facebook, like, you know, like telling about my day, but they came off as like stories. And someone from my church at the time was like, you should start a blog. And then like people under it were like, yeah, that's a good idea. You're such a good writer. You're such a good writer. And I was like, I know I can write. I know I'm good at grammar. I know I'm like, you know, Nazi police, you know, when it comes to grammar and stuff like that. But I never thought like, oh, maybe I should use those talents. And so I started a blog in 2017 called Cinnabons and Shea Butter. Very classy.
Oh, wow. I love it. I like that. I like that title.
Right? It was good. I thought it was cute.
I mean, they should have a Cinnabon type of shea butter. I feel like that makes sense. I would buy it.
Hey, I would love that. And so I started that design. I like sat at my laptop for like 10 hours and designed the whole thing on Wix. And I was like, oh, this, you know, like this feels like social media again. Like this is fun. It lasted like 3 months. But then the following year, I started another blog called A Black 20-something. And that one was way more successful and all those good things, and kind of got some traction with that. So I learned more about like graphic design and social media in general, and, you know, all the behind the scenes and the numbers and content creating, all of that stuff. And then last year, so that was in 2018. Then last year I was like, I have to change the name because I'm going to be 30 soon. I'll turn 30 next year. And I was like, well, I can't wait until then. And so that's how I got Notes from My Phone. So I was like, oh, that can sustain itself for however many years it needs to. And yeah, so it's just been like I want to learn this thing, so I've learned this thing.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
So you've done like 3 different blogs.
Yep.
So why 3 different blogs and not just reinvent each one?
So because each of them kind of had a different feel to them. So the first one was really just like, oh, I'm just going to be talking. Like, I'm just going to just like, like a personal blog and I'm just posting. And then a Black 20-something, well, I was like, well, this needs to be geared toward not just myself. So I was writing for Black women. And the same instance of like telling things about myself or telling my stories or, sharing whatever and being inspiring and motivating, but geared toward Black women. And then Notes for My Phone is just kind of a derivative of that, but it's more of a inspiring and motivating women type deal. So the concept for that was last year, I used to nanny and I would be out on walks with these babies and like have all these thoughts like, I want to quit my job. I want to write. I want to do something else. And I had nowhere to like put these thoughts because I always had like a stroller or like a child like attached to me somehow. And so I started taking notes in my phone and like recording myself talking and things like that. And the more I talked, the more I like grew into like my spirituality and just kind of becoming more self-aware and just all of that type of stuff. And I was like, I have like really good things to say and I think I should be sharing them with people and kind of like motivating. And so this one is more of like, I'm sharing these notes from like life with other people to do whatever they want to do.
So you got us hanging. Like I went to Notes from My Phone and the last post was on May 18th.
It was.
I mean, you just gave us all this pearls of wisdom and then you was like, all right, y'all got to figure it out for these next couple of months. I'm on summer hiatus. Like, what's up?
The summer hiatus came. It came. And like, so pandemic hit in March. Like I said, I was nannying and I was in my mind, like already out of like childcare. I've been in childcare for 15 years. And I was already like, this has to stop.
Were you was in childcare for 15 years?
I started when I was 14, 15. I'll be 30 next year. Yeah, so 15 years, 16 years next year. Yep.
That's another conversation for another day.
Yeah. That's yeah. But it also ties into like everything that I do now because it's just helped me to be more empathetic and compassionate. And so like, yeah, and I still have that passion, which I'm going to touch back on at some point. But so the pandemic hit, we all thought it was going to be like this 3-week, like, oh, well, we'll go back. And time kept passing and March ended and then April came and I was like, so what's happening in the world? And it was I just remember April was just very dark. And I don't know if it was weather-wise or if it was just me, but it was just a very just depressing and like, ugh, this is so terrible. I turned 29. I kept forgetting that I had a birthday coming up. I kept forgetting that I had a birthday like that had passed. And it was like, this is terrible. And toward the end of April, I had a mind mapping session with this woman named Karen. And
hold on. Karen? Is it Karen or Karen?
Karen Spears.
Oh, because I have a client. Her name is Karen, and she does something similar. That's why I was like, wait,
really?
What? I was like, this is a small world.
That's so dope. It's still close, though. That's very close. I love that. But yeah, I had that, and the people that I was nannying for, they wanted me to come back to work, and I was like, they said we're not even supposed to go to the grocery store if we don't have to. So like, I don't know about coming into your home. And what if I get too sick? I don't want to bring anything in. And so, we talked it out, and they were pretty much, like, if you decide not to return by June 1st, we can't hold your job. And so May 18th, when the mom was supposed to go back to work, like that hit, like all these dates just kept hitting. And I was just like, I don't think I'm supposed to go back to work. Like, I don't think I'm going to do it. And so May was more of a like, I'm doing my own thing and blah, 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 blah. So that's like when the blog picked up. But then after I quit my job and realized I didn't have a job anymore, and then like, that's when the protest, like everything just, it all spiraled and just life things happened. And it was just like, what is happening? So I've just been taking a lot of time to like, I go for morning walks, meditating more, and like just trying to figure out like what my next step is, because they found a nanny. So like, I really don't have a job now. And I'm not renewing my lease. And like the world is kind of just like this big open place, like with like I could move anywhere, I could do anything right now because I have nothing holding me anywhere. Not in a relationship, like I have nothing holding me back in any instance. So I'm just trying to figure out what the next step is so I can help the people, because that's all I want to do.
Well, how are you holding up? Like, where are you like right now? You, like you just said, like we've gone through so much. We got a pandemic, then there's protests, and then and that's coupled with the stuff that we normally deal with on a regular basis. Because let's not forget that we're people. Because I know personally, for me, when the pandemic hit, I was okay. Like I had a week where, well, when it first hit, like that first in March, I had like a week where I was like, oh my gosh, I'm about to die. And I got over that and I was fine and I found my stride. Like you, I started going on daily walks, and I started meditating back in 2018. So that, you know, that had always been a thing. And like you said, I was like, I always wanted the world to slow down a bit. So it's like, now is my time. April was a weird thing though too. Like April came and that was weird. May was also my birthday. You know, so you know, I had my birthday, and actually May 18th, and it's so funny.
Oh wow!
Because May 18th, I hosted a virtual event. And it went really well. And then after that event, like I just crashed. Like I was like, I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Like I'm just like, okay, what we doing? And then, like you said, then the protests have happened. And then I was like, man, like, I was like,
like what happened to June? Because I'm still shocked that July is here. Like it's July. What is it? The 9th? It's like, what happened to June? It was just, June was so sad. June was a very sad month.
It was because that was the month that the protest happened.
Every day. That
was the month that everyone began to protest. That was the month that we started to see all the Karen videos. And it was a lot. And I know for me, I felt a lot of pressure because it was like, okay, I'm Black. And I'm supposed to do something. But I'm also tired. Like I'm tired. Like, I'm physically drained from everything. And now I got to go protest. And post. And then it was like days where I didn't want to post. Like it's like I'm still absorbing all of this information. So with all of that being said, how are you doing? Like let's go back. How are you doing spiritually, like how are you?
I'm great. I'm really good. I am in I literally have no idea what's about to happen. Like hopefully we get this unemployment extra that they're handing out. Hopefully that keeps going past this month. Hopefully there's another stimulus check because I don't have a job. Like I don't have a home. Like come the end of August, I am out of here. So I don't know. But despite those like very two major things happening right now, I'm good. I've been pulling my cards. I've been going for my walks. I've been trying to go to sleep intentionally. I can't remember some rapper. I can't remember which rapper. Trinidad James, I think. He posted on Twitter and said, like, the reason you're pretty much saying, like, the reason you're tired is because you're falling asleep. You're not going to sleep. I was like,
and that's the name I haven't heard in a while, Trinidad James.
Yeah, he's real different than what we remember from, like, that one song he had.
Yeah, what was it? Like, gold, all of my.
Yeah,
all gold, everything.
That was a hit. I definitely like that one. But yeah, he was like, you know, you need to do things with intention, and so I've been trying to like go to sleep on time, and I've been waking up at 7:00 in the morning every day this week too. So it's like I'm up and like, oh, the world is so nice before all the things rush in, and I don't know. I've been taking it easy and reading and learning, and I don't have time for nothing else. So,
well, that's good. Well, I say this. I'm a little bit older. If you can go back to your mom's house or your dad's house or whoever, do it. Like, don't feel no shame in it. Don't feel shame in doing it. Do it. Get yourself together. You know, continue on this road. Because I feel like one of the good things about this is that I think a lot of people are starting to realize that they just been doing things because they feel like that's what they're supposed to do. Like, we on this grind. Like, we on this grind because we have to do this. We got to make money. Hustle don't stop. You know, I don't sleep. I sleep when I'm dead. Like, we've developed all of these habits of things to do and not being, like you said, intentional about it. So I definitely believe that if you continue to be intentional, like, your next move is going to reveal itself to you and you're going to be fine.
Yeah, I'm
definitely
expecting good things too. So I'm gonna keep writing. I sent my so one of the women that I nannied for, her friend is an editor at some magazine or whatever, and so I sent her like my resume and a bio, and she's like, hopefully something can come from this, and I'll see who else I can send it to. She knows some people, so I have high hopes. Yeah, everything around me is saying like July is my month. So I'm not even really worried about like the job and not having a home because I think it's coming. And I do have a home lined up. I just have to find a job so I can get said home. But yeah, I have high hopes.
Keep that.
High hopes. Yeah.
That actually gets you further than what people realize.
Yes. Big time. Big time.
So writing, and you talked about, you know, about to write with the magazine and things like that. I know you've done some freelancing. Yeah. So you probably had to like interact with PR professionals like myself. How's that been? Like, what has your relationship been with PR professionals as a content developer?
You know what? I've only just through some emails, and for the most part, it's been okay. I haven't had any like things, you know, it's just like, okay, nice email back. Yeah, it's funny you asked about PR though, because I was looking through some old stuff a few weeks ago and picked up an old notebook from 2015. And I had written in there that I wanted to look into PR for myself. And I can't remember where that thought would have came from in 2015 because I was working with 2-year-olds at the time. So like where PR came from. But like when I saw that the day after, I was like, okay, well, let me do some research into PR. So like, that's kind of another thing that I kind of want to look into just to see if it might be, because like I said, since I'm just kind of out here and just learning, I can learn about everything and just see what fits. So,
well, if you're open to it, I'm more than happy to talk to you about that later on.
Absolutely.
I'll tell you a secret. Well, it's not really a secret. It's something I just don't talk about often. I never wanted to go into PR. Like, really? How I got into PR? No. So this is a story. So back when I was younger, like as far as I can remember, I always wanted to work in music. Okay. A&R, producer, songwriter, like I wanted to do any of it, all of it. I was ready.
Yeah.
So I was working, like I've done some things with Atlantic Records, Hidden Beach Recordings, back when Jill Scott was on it. Nice. I've done some things with Murder Inc. Records back when Ashanti first came out. Girl, yes. So I was like deep into music. So when I was in undergrad, I took one PR class. Okay. And my PR teacher was like, you should really consider a career in PR. And I was like, no, I want to do PR. And the real reason I didn't want to do PR is because the girls at that time in my school, and probably it's still the same, but I didn't like them. Like they were kind of like snooty and stuck up. And I definitely didn't feel like that was who I was. Like I'm the cool girl that's into hip hop and like,
yes.
Nah, I'm not doing this PR thing.
Yeah.
So then I graduate, then I go to grad school, still focusing in music, and I started working with this marketing company. Okay. And they had like a lot of different clients, such as Def Jam, Interscope, Virgin, Bad Boy.
That's so
And
dope.
so I ended up doing like some management work with them, but I really wasn't getting paid a lot because, you know, just coming up still. Yeah. But I was in grad school, so I was like, well, I'm in grad school, so I'm not going to push it right now. So then I'm getting ready to graduate, and I'm making all these connections. So I'll have this plan of I'm gonna reach out to this person and this person and this person to see how I can, you know, get into a label gig. And right before I get ready to do all of that, the industry just shifted. And I think technology had a lot to do with it, but everyone lost their jobs. Like a lot of people lost their jobs. Basically, anybody who I wanted to ask for help lost their job. And if they didn't lose their job, and if they didn't lose their job, they was like holding on for like dear life. Yeah. I think everybody in that industry that I know right now, like all are doing something different right now.
Wow.
So I was like, man. So I had this girlfriend at the time, and she had just graduated from undergrad in PR. And she said, well, Vanessa, I don't want to do PR, but I think you should do PR. I was like, there that goes again. I was like, well, I got to do something because I can't use the whole I'm in grad school thing. Yeah. I'm not doing nothing in life. even though now I look back at it, I could have, like I could have still figured out, but I was like, I got to figure out something. So I started looking into PR, found out I had to intern all over again. So I started working at agencies as an intern, so like now I'm the older intern because I've shifted careers, but here I am.
Wow.
So I did not plan to go into PR. But
dope.
You have the trajectory to do PR because you do a lot of writing.
Yeah. It's
any sort of journalistic background helps with PR.
Okay, that's good to know.
Yeah. So that's good because a lot of content. So like the reason why I had created this series, because back in the day, well, I wouldn't say back in the day, it's not that long ago, but like it was like I was hearing these things where a lot of influencers like would get mad at PR professionals because they felt like PR professionals, it was like a lot of different things. Either they came with this air of snootiness that I talked about earlier, like the girls from our school, or they would try to take advantage of influencers and content creators, like telling them like this is how they want content without paying for it. Okay. And I didn't know that was a thing. Yeah. But I do know that when we pitch as a PR professional, if I were to pitch to the Today Show, for example, I would give the Today Show like, okay, this is what I want. They'll tell me yes or no. And I can tell them how I want it. But at the end of the day, I have no control over what the outcome will be because we're not paying for it. So to know that PR professionals were like taking advantage of content creators and influencers in that way was like really daunting to me. So I wanted to create the conversation because I wanted to let them know that we're not all like this.
Yeah, I love that. I love that.
And just wanted to let them, and then just to show like, but I do know that a lot of content creators, like when you do create your blog, like you do need to make money. Yeah. But I wanted them to see that we had a need to like, brands had a need for both paid and unpaid, had a need for both paid and unpaid visibility when it came to platforms. So they would pay for like a magazine, for example, like you pay for the ad space, but then you're also hoping that the editor would also include you in an article. So it's like, how do we create that balance where we can start to work together where it's not always paid? And also I think like, your followers look at you more when you start to talk about things you like. Yes. That you weren't paid to talk about. So for that was that. Have you had any colleagues who had horror stories from PR professionals?
Not that I can think of. I don't think so. I think most of my issues have come from other influencers.
Tell me.
Yeah, they're not very nice. They're not very nice. I've met, and I think one of the things that really bothers me is that the women in Chicago that I've come into contact with who are those mean girl types are Black women. And just very not who they're portraying to be on their social media, obviously. And just behind the scenes, just very trash to other Black women.
It's sort of like I saw this meme going around saying that mean girls need to stop hosting these women empowerment brunches when you're a real life mean girl. And it kind of hit home. I'm gonna tell you something really funny that you said this was here in Chicago. So I started doing this in Chicago, obviously, because I'm from Chicago. Okay. And after doing it for, it started with the events. And then after doing the events for a while, I decided to go to LA. Mm-hmm. And LA was not something I wanted to do. Okay. It was something that came to me in meditation, like we talked about earlier. Okay. And it came to me over and over and over again. And the first time it came to me, I was like, no, I'm not ready. Like, let's pause. Yeah. Me again. And I was like, all right, fine. Because I made this deal with myself to follow my intuition, no matter if it made sense or not.
I just did that.
It works. Oh my gosh. It was a deal that I made with myself that it has yet to fail me. It has yet to fail me. Your intuition is always right. It doesn't seem, when it comes to you, it doesn't look right at that moment. Right. And because you can't connect the dots. Your intuition can see beyond what you can see in the moment. And your friends and family, they're not going to get it. You can't tell them what your intuition says because they're thinking logic. And it's not that intuition is illogical. It's applying a logic that you can't see right now. Yes.
Yes.
So that's actually, I wrote an article, I'll send it to you. I wrote an article not so long ago about how intuition is my number one business strategy.
Oof. Send that to me.
I will, but I digress. So follow my intuition, went to LA, decided to have this event. Okay. I will say that it is like in LA, I thought LA was going to be more intimidating. I thought in LA they would have more of an air. It's not. It's not to say that it doesn't exist in LA, but I do feel like it's stronger in Chicago for some odd reason.
I've heard that.
I felt like when I got to LA, it was a different vibe, and it was different. And yeah, it was very, very different in a good way, in a way that kind of demystified the stereotypes that I had about what it would be like to work with the people in LA. Like, I would definitely say now it's easier for me to do this in LA than it is for me to do in Chicago.
Wow.
So the fact that you're dealing with that is, I don't know why do you think that is? Like, do you think it's because we feel like we have something to prove because we're in Chicago?
I think, yeah. And you know what? It's not even only an influencer thing. It's an industry thing in Chicago. It's music industry. It's all around. Yeah. And I think that Chicago is so small with it being so big. It's so small. And everyone is, I just feel like everyone is grappling for that Chicago spot. It's like, but there's room for everybody. It's just Chicago, guys. Like, relax. But yeah. Because now that I think of it, two of them are I'm the Chicago person of this, whatever you want to call it. Niche, I guess.
I'm so sorry you're dealing with that.
Well, not anymore. I was long removed. I've grown and, like, figured things out for myself. But but I've also come into a lot of contact with amazing people in Chicago. And I've made a lot of connections with wonderful people here, because there is a very tight-knit community vibe against Black people in Chicago. But then there's also those others who stand out because of how they are. So,
what groups are you part of? Any collaboratives or anything like that you were able to find to be like home for you, like blogger unions or anything like that?
No.
It was just a organic relationship.
Yeah, organic. A lot of them are organic. And just so actually, my ex was when he lived in Chicago, he knew a lot of people in the music industry. So, like, I know people through him and people, who know other people. And then with my writing, like, I've kind of been more out there and going to more events and stuff like that. What else? I also have a tendency to just be very open and transparent with my Instagram and my blog. And it just kind of creates this, it creates this just community vibe. So it makes it easy for me to just slide in people's DMs, like, oh, I liked your picture, whatever, or commenting on things. Like, I have no problem being social on social media. And I think a lot of people just don't view social media that way. It's looked at as a business tool. It's looked at as a way to flex and do all of those type of things. But people aren't thinking, like, you can make genuine connections through social media. And I've met.
You wrote that on Twitter, actually, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. I did put that on Twitter. Yeah, I actually pinned it. And because it's true, I met a guy yesterday. We met on Twitter, and it's like you're missing out on meaningful connections when you're on social media just to be on there doing some bullshit stuff. Like, so yeah, I like talking. I like communicating. I like all that stuff. So,
yeah. And it's by being your authentic self, you are able to now attract the people that you're supposed to attract, rather than
for sure
somebody that just connecting with you because you do X, Y, and Z.
Yes.
Like me. Yes. Like, I found social media.
Yes, right? It's amazing. You can just meet some amazing people. And it's wonderful. And even with the writing circle that I started, which you should probably join. You write, right? You obviously write things.
Yes. So, and actually, yes. We can get into that later. We'll tell them about the writer circle, and then we'll come back to that.
Okay. So that was a very random idea. So along with the pandemic and things, my sleep has been screwed up. I've heard a lot of people say that, but if I'm just up all night, by choice or if I'm not sure what it is, but my mind goes crazy at nighttime. So there's times I'm up like 24 hours a day. And this was one of those days. This was not one of those days. It was kind of one of those days. I ordered a burger, fries, and a shake. I sat here, I ate it, fell asleep around 9:30, 10 o'clock. Terrible mistake, because I woke up at 1 and I was wide awake. And I started just researching different forms of writing, like storytelling and film and all, just like, what else can I do with writing? And I was on Masterclass, and they have these very short articles, I guess you call them, posts about just very simple. Have you been on Masterclass?
No, but I've been thinking about signing up for it.
Yeah, for sure that I need to sign up, but I'm on there often. But they have just very straight to the point, like, what is the difference between a film director and a film producer? That's the post. Boom, 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 boom. They're like 4 to 5 minute reads. They're very short, straight to the point. And I love that, because I am a skimmer. I hate despite that I write things, I hate reading. And I read as much as I can, but like, it's just something I just wish I didn't have to do. And yeah, I was on there and I saw this thing that, like, it was, I don't know, 5 things that, all the best writers do. And one of them was join a writing circle. And I was like, well, what's a writing circle? And I looked it up. I did not see any in Chicago. I did not see any for Black people. And I was just like, it's 7 o'clock in the morning. This seems like a good idea. I'm just going to tweet it. And I tweeted, like, looking for 4 to 5 other Black women who write, like, let's set something up. And people, like, were sharing it. And this is like my first day literally on Twitter. This is my very, very new Twitter account. I just started this Twitter account like beginning mid-June. And it was just going crazy. And I was like, oh, then I guess I should probably like start something for real. And so, yeah, now it's here and it's great. And I met some very wonderful people. Yes, I did. I was also very high at the time, so I probably followed a lot of things, but I
love it.
But yeah, it was good. And it's great. Actually, me and one of the girls, she was helping me build a Google Doc for the group, and everyone else hung up, and it was just me and her on Zoom, and we were on there. So the call probably lasted from like 7 to 7:45 for like everyone. And then afterwards, she helped me. We were on the phone until like 11:30 Chicago time, just talking. It's like, I've never met this woman. We've talked all of 3 times, like through Zoom. We've, shared a couple messages through Instagram or whatever. And it's just like, had I not started that and just not come with this, like, okay, I'm just going to do this thing, I would have never met her.
How many people are in the writing circle?
So a lot of people have registered, but all of them have not been on a call at the same time. I think by now, so the first day that I posted it, or like within the first few days, so I posted on a Thursday, and the meeting was that upcoming Tuesday. I had like 30 something people signed up, and then more people kept signing up. So by now, I would honestly say maybe around 45, 50, but just never everyone at the same time. Everyone's not in the WhatsApp like group chat. So I'm going to start a newsletter for it to kind of keep it going and pull back. I know how to use social media. I just have to use it right. I've been being kind of lazy about it. It's like, all right, it's a Zoom call. Everyone just hop on. But I need to put some intention into it so that it can blossom.
Got you. Well, I will definitely be on the lookout for the invite to join the writing circle. And actually, I probably need to join because you said something. So I'll be honest with you. So let's rewind. So I talked about how I did music and how I'm into PR. Yeah. So I did write. I do write. I do write. And so what happened was, I've always been a writer since I was a kid. I literally wrote out the cards that I would make people. Wow. And I would make these poems, and my mom was like, you need to I'm gonna keep these cards so you can get a job at Hallmark when you're older. And I started like writing lyrics and things like that. Nice. And I was always thought I was a great writer. Then I got to college, and one teacher told me I wasn't a good writer. And I believed them. Terrible. And I was like, oh, well, I guess I used to be a good writer. And so maybe I'm not a writer anymore. So then I kind of like fell back on it. Then I got into PR. Okay. And then you got to write these press releases and things like that. And it was this one girl that at this agency that I worked with, I guess we were rivals. And that's a whole nother story for us. I'm going to share this story about this girl one day. Not yet. Okay. But one day I will share this story about this girl. But we just did not get along. And she was above me in rank, but I was older than her. So I think she was intimidated by me. Because she would like always like try to keep me at a certain level. Yeah. like every time I write, like I noticed that when she would give me edits, it wouldn't be edits like, oh, your grammar is wrong or things like that. It would just be more subjective writing, where she would replace something I said with another word that said the same thing. I was like, so basically, and at first I thought it was like, oh my gosh, my writing is horrible. But then when I started to look at it, at the writing, I was like, oh no, basically what you're doing is you're just being at the stores and putting in different words for what I've already said, And I said, that's a style preference. That's not necessarily that I'm not a good writer.
Right.
But it took me a long time to like get to that. I would say then I worked for this corporation, and then I also felt like I wasn't a good writer then because like it's very corporate writing. Right. So I was like, okay. But then I became a business owner. Okay. Right after that. And now I have to write. I have to write everything. And something in me decided I wanted to do like some blog posts. I started like a few blog posts, didn't keep up with it. I wrote it on LinkedIn. Okay. And everyone was like, oh my gosh, you're a great writer. Like, what? Like, everyone's been telling me I'm a bad writer. Yeah. So then I started so every now and then, like, I will contribute an article when it comes to me. And I've been thinking about writing again, but I think I'm still coping through all the people that told me back in the day that I wasn't a good writer.
Yes. Oh, I love this so
I even wrote a book.
Did you?
Oh, yes. I wrote a book. I'm like, I wrote this book in 2018. What? I'm just not promoting it. Like, I wrote it. I put it out there. I promoted it for like maybe a week. And then I stopped. And then something in me just said, Vanessa, just start promoting this book. So I'm promoting this book, and everyone was like, oh, you wrote a book? I'm like, I just never talked about it.
That's amazing. That is amazing.
But it's a PR tool. It's a PR toolkit. Okay. It's not like a book.
People need that. Somebody needs that. Somebody out there is like, dang, I wish I had a PR book right now, guidebook to help me through this time. Like, it's coming, guys.
Well, it's here. It's here. Actually, an ex of mine just bought it.
Ooh.
I know, right?
I love it. I
was like, when that order came through, I was like, for real?
Who's this?
Anyway.
I love that.
So back to the story at hand. So you haven't had any so my next question to you was, how do you think PR pros and influence can work better together? But if you don't have an answer for that, I mean, we could just brainstorm something.
Yeah, I have no idea. Like I said, I've had a few emails here and there, and it's been like, oh, okay. Like, I haven't had any like things happen.
Have you had any fun situations with PR people then? Like been invited to something cool, or got like a really, really like awesome story that you didn't expect or anything like that?
Well, at the time, it was cool to have gotten invited to the wing, but the wing has gone down in flames, so it's not cool anymore. But that was cool at the time.
That's news to me.
Oh, the wing is
Where did that happen?
Well. Oh, well, it's already been happening. So, take it back to last year. They had an incident out at the West Hollywood location. I think it's West Hollywood, and something about there was a black member was there, and there was a white guest. I guess they had an issue in the parking lot with the parking spot, and the issue got brought inside. I don't know, whatever. But there was nothing done about this white woman who was a guest, while this black woman who was a paying member in the wing is not cheap. And, so that was a thing. And then there was an issue here in Chicago, something with higher up. They never really wanted to say what it was. They had a whole meeting about it. I was there. I still have no idea what they are talking about. But someone got let go or quit. I don't know. It's just been a lot of things. And then with the pandemic, something with paying employees or not paying employees. I saw somebody tweet from the Brooklyn location that they still haven't been paid. That was a few weeks ago. I saw that. And the CEO, she stepped down. Yeah, they've been grappling. Grappling. So there's a lot.
I have some research to do.
Yeah.
Funny you say that.
It's crazy.
I was going to look. Okay, so the last time I hosted an event was March 4th, like right before the world shut down. March 4th was at a WeWork in West Hollywood.
Okay.
And somebody was like, you should check out the Wing in West Hollywood.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, okay, I'm gonna get to it. But of course the world shut down. So I never followed up on that. And so now, like, that's why I'm like, when you're telling me, I'm like,
saved you.
What?
Because I know one of my friends actually, she was like, do you think I should pull my membership? And I was like, oh, absolutely. So everybody's trying to get pull their memberships. And I know they had a lot of people walk out too. It was a whole like walkout day. Like when all the protests and things happened, like all the businesses were being blown up, the Wing was a part of that. And all these women who were working there came out and said like they weren't treated fairly as workers and they weren't paid appropriately. And, they had the Black women doing things in the bathroom, in the kitchen. And, like women of color were doing these jobs while women of other, white women who were not doing these jobs. And it was really confusing because when they had that meeting a lot of their meetings last year, but when like the higher ups came, and I was like, oh, this is a very diverse group. I saw an Asian woman, a Black woman, white. Like, I was like, oh, they got a good grip on this. I guess not.
Oh, man. Not.
Truth always comes to light, though, I guess. So better now than, people holding on. But yeah, I don't know if they'll be able to come back from it because so many people are so upset about it. Especially women of color. In general.
Definitely gonna look into that.
Yeah. I went to I took a friend. She's Black as well. We went to a like investing and to learn more about finances, thinking this is going to be something educational and blah, 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 blah. And the woman who was running it, you could tell she was strictly talking to white women or women with wealth, because these women were saying things like, oh, me and my husband, we got gifted the down payment on our new house and we're not sure how we should use this money. Just the words that they were using were just going over me and her head, and I'm sure other women in there. We were like, what is this getting money? Like, I don't know anything about this. Like, I'm trying to find a new apartment and you guys are talking big, big money. Like, y'all talking student loans are paid off. It's like, this is not for everyone. And you should have said that. So people who had questions, the woman who was giving the presentation, she's like, oh, you can come to these office hours, or, oh, you can come to this. Oh, you can do. And it's like, these questions weren't being answered. It's like, we're not talking to you today. I didn't like that either. It's like, wow. I want to learn how to save my money too.
I'm so sorry you had to deal with that.
Yeah.
Well, I guess
there was a Black brunch though. Yeah, they had a Black brunch. Yeah, that I went to last year, and there were like, I'd say maybe 15 of us there, but it was the greatest experience I had at the Wing. So I'm glad I got to be there for that and meet them, because they're all, one of the Mean Girl influencers were there. She was there. I'll say that. So
was
if you
it
see
the
a
one
picture,
here?
It was on here. She's in that group. I won't say who, but she is in that group.
We won't say who it is. I might know. I might be friends with her. So we would not say who it is.
You might know. We won't even start no problems. Don't have to do that.
We will not do that. Well, how can a PR professional help you right now?
Ooh, I don't know. Any way possible. I am looking for a job. If anyone has a job available, that is what I am looking for. That's the best way possible someone can help me right now.
So with you looking for a job, what would be your ideal job right now?
So I am thinking about dipping into life coaching, and I remembered that my degree actually might be able to be used with that. So I'm trying to figure out health and I don't even know how to say it. Human and health sciences with an emphasis on rehab services. But I did a lot of counseling classes and things like that, and psychology and blah, 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 blah. So I'm like, I might be able to swing that somehow. But while I'm trying to figure that out, I don't know. Writing, social media things. I'm good with social media content, copywriting, editing, all of those. That's me.
So anywhere someone needs content development, whether it's for their website, whether it's for like a, maybe an ad campaign or whatever, you are for hire.
I am for hire
for content development in
I
any
am
capacity.
For hire in any capacity, especially if it is writing and or editing. I am available because I want to do something that I can stay home because we have no idea what's going to happen with this pandemic. I'm not trying to go to nobody's office come September. So preferably home, and like I said, so I can continue on with this actual God-given thing that I need to be doing on this other side. So
If anyone needed to look up your portfolio, can they find it online?
I would say I like to think that my website is my portfolio because it's all mine. My photography is there. My writing is there. My copy is there. My design work is there because I designed the website. Like that website is all me. So that's
what's
my
the website?
It is called notesfrommyphone.com.
Mm-hmm.
Check it out. It's fantastic. It's my little baby and I love it so much. I worked really hard on that one. That is the best piece of anything I've ever created. That right there. It's the best. I'm very proud of it.
Keep it going. I think
I
think you owe us a post. Even if it's not that big,
could do that.
We don't need nothing prolific. We just need to hear from you. Make sure you're okay. Say today, I ordered a burger and fries and I woke up and I shouldn't have done that. Like, even if you tell us,
I might have to write about that. I might have to. And you know what? I've been meaning to. There's so many things that have been happening, and it's like I need to write that. I need to write that. I need to write that. And then other things just keep like, okay, there's this fellowship I saw. There's this, other job thing I want to look at. There's, look, tarot things are happening. And then I actually went to Mississippi randomly last week with family, and then found out that it was a hot spot. So now I'm quarantined for 14 days. It's like, well. Yeah, so that happened, and so that literally took up I was gone from Wednesday up until this past Monday. So life just keeps happening, and I just keep, all right, well, I guess we'll turn in this direction. So I need to write about all these spur of the moment things that are going on.
Please do.
I will.
I'll wrap it up here. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, this has been another fabulous episode of the DIMPRP Podcast. I'm looking forward to having you join us again.